Hello. Questions?
Start with center. You guys lost Kingsley. Obviously, where does that leave you at the position for this week?
Yeah, well, Graham is feeling a lot better. Yep.
With Kingsley, you guys started him 2 games in a row. How did you guys get away?
Well, he liked the opportunity, so he felt like that was the right thing for him. And, man, I wish him well. Love Kingsley, man. He's a good dude, man. Worked his tail off, has here for a couple of years. And so wish him the best of luck, man.
Was he someone you wanted on the 53?
Yeah. Like Kingsley. He's done a good job. He's really, he's grown.
We talked a lot about the offensive line this year, but when you have the number of tight ends missing that you guys have had, how did that kind of impact your offense down the stretch, not having Sam, not having Brock?
Yeah, it's tight ends are a big part of what we do. They certainly the run game, but the pass game as well. So when you lose your top 2 guys, it becomes a little harder for sure. So it's affected us. Now that being said, it's good to get Zylstra back. He's a pro, he's a vet, can do a lot of jobs, and then Ferk, as well. Ferkshires, he's got some versatility too. So it's been good to have those 2 guys.
Just one more on Kingsley, more bigger picture logistics of practice squad poaching. When a team express interest or you express interest in a guy on another team's practice squad, is it kind of like a handshake first right of a refusal thing? Like you said, he liked the opportunity, but did you have?
Well, I think what it is it's we're not gonna lie to anybody. I can't guarantee a starting spot. We're not going to do that. I can't guarantee that. So they guaranteed it, and so it's all good. It's good for him, man.
What do you hope Jahmyr Gibbs takes from this season? I mean, at his best, you saw what he's been able to do. One of the most electrifying guys in the league. But then some of these losses has been major difference in his numbers. What do you hope he takes from this season, especially here in this last game?
Well, he's like any other player. He's not done growing and developing, and and so I think so much of it is, you always got to look to yourself and. What are the little things, the little details that you can improve on personally that can help maybe some of these runs or and then you work off of that, and so just always hone in on the little things, your first step, your landmarks, and I've said this all along, man, if we can just get he or David to bust one of these early, if we can just get a breakout run early, it goes a long way. It really does, man. And we just haven't been able to do that. But, man, he works, he grinds. Both of those backs do. So we haven't been able to do it in a while. We haven't been able to break out of there. But he's not done growing. That's what you love about Gibbs, man. He's got so much room to grow in both areas, run and pass. And I feel like that's where he's really blossomed is in the pass game. And there's so much left to work with here.
No one asked about the tight ends. We haven't asked about Laporta in a minute. How is he recovering? How'd that go? What's his long-term outlook, I guess?
Yeah, he's getting better. It wouldn't be, it wouldn't have been one of those things where, you get in the playoffs. Did he have a chance to play? No, it wouldn't be that. But I feel like, next year, that's certainly isn't off the table early in the year. You'd like to believe training camp will get him, but you're talking about a back, and he's improving, but yet he's not completely healed.
What sort of long-term, you said maybe training camp, so what sort of long-term, questions are there about his future now? Well, I think it's anytime when you start talking about a neck or a back or, some of those things, depending on a knee, what kind of knee it is or what it looks like, those can be concerning just because you don't know. You don't know exactly what's going to come out of that, how do they recover. So that's always going to kind of be back there a little bit until either he is fully healed or he's not quite there. But I'd like to believe he's got, he'll have a lot of time to heal here. He's rehabbing every day. Certainly feels better after the surgery than he did right before, so that's a positive, right? Took a lot of stress off that nerve, so we'll see.
We know what Decker's gone through this year with the shoulder, obviously an illness last weekend, but just is that someone you have to think about playing this weekend just based on what he's gone through to get to this point?
Yeah, I mean, the plan is to get Decker going. You know, he wants to play. I mean, he wanted to play last week, but he looked like he was, you know, about 6 inches from the grave. So, you know, it was unfortunate, but you know, barring anything this week, he'll be ready to go.
I think you know, it's talked a lot about players, like sometimes disappointment can fuel growth, helping them reach that next level. It's obviously been a disappointing season, didn't reach the goal. How does that apply to the coaching staff and maybe you, Dan? I mean, you've seen so much, you've gone through highs and lows as a player and as a coach. Like, how does this season fuel you going forward?
Well, I think that's exactly what it does. You know, I think that's exactly what it does. You know, I mean, sometimes you got to hit rock bottom before you can work your way back up. And relative to where we were at, this is rock bottom, you know. But as bad as it looks, I said this the other day, it's not as far away as it may appear. We just got to get a few things back in line here. But it does apply to the coaches, you know. And no different than the players, that's what you look for. I do as a head coach, man. How do the coaches respond to what we're going through here? We got one more, you know, and what are we willing to do to try to get this win?
Seasons before where you didn't make the playoffs, I'm assuming, disappointing 21-22. How did you kind of pick yourself up and use that fuel to make yourself a better coach, have a better team the following years? How did you get out of those?
Well, I mean, look, failure, for me, failure is easy to, it's very good motivation. You either go two ways, right? I mean, you either just go down in the dumps and you sit in a dirty diaper for a while, you guys that got kids, and you just lay there, you just sit there, right? And it's miserable. Or you change your diaper and you get the hell up and you go. And so the motivation is respect, man. You know, you don't want to go through what you went through again, you know, and you'll do whatever it takes to not let it happen again, whatever it takes. Or you'll die trying, relative to what we go through in this league.
How much did you get a sense of, you know, when you took over as play caller, kind of all the things that Jared had to deal with, I guess, these last, you know, 9 weeks, especially?
I'm sorry, a little bit louder.
And when you took over as play caller, I mean, how much did you get even better sense of what Jared had to deal with you know, the loss of Sam and, you know, the turmoil within the offensive line and everything else, and just, you know, what he had to kind of weather over these last 9 weeks?
Well, anytime, you know, to really to be in that position with him, you know, you really, you know, you learn a lot about each other, and we've known a lot about each other. It's not the first time we've done this, but you do, and I do know this: every time you lose somebody, more pressure gets applied to him. Every time you lose somebody, more pressure gets applied to him, and right, wrong, or indifferent, I put more on him. You know, and I put more on him, and it can become, you know, it can become hard, man. Now. He'll always embrace all of it, you know, give me every bit of it. I can handle it. I can give it to these guys. I can do. And so, but it does. We put a lot on the guy, you know, and, you know, and that's why I respect him. One of many reasons why I respect him. I mean, he's played at a high level, and he really hasn't had everything at his disposal. We just kind of, you know, you lose a player here or there, and you lose him in different areas, but he's handled it like a champ.
So over the course of the season, what did you like about play calling, and what were the challenges that you faced?
I'm not going to get into all that right now. That's not the time. If you want to ask me next week, then I'll tell you I'm not going to get into that until the week after or whatever. But, you know. Okay.